There are two types of blueprints inside of Unreal. There are level blueprints and class blueprints. A level blueprint will allow you to add a blueprint to the level so that every time you start playing, certain actions happen. This is great if you want to add a script directly to the level. It's not as flexible as the other type of blueprint, which is a class blueprint. A class blueprint will allow you to take a group of objects, add scripts to them, and then use them multiple times in a level or even in multiple levels. That said, I am going to start with a level blueprint because the level blueprint interface is incredibly simple, and it's going to be a good way for you to get a good start. So what I want to do is I want to take my little fire here and I want to be able to turn it on and off. If I select the fire in my world outliner, the thing that's going to do that, if I twirl some of these down, is a thing called rendering, and it's this visible flag. If visible is set to true, the fire is on. If visible is set to false, the fire is off. All of the objects in your scene, all of the lights, all of the particle systems, all of the models, they all have this visible button, and that's the thing that we're going to be working with principally. So in order to set up my level blueprint, I can go to this Blueprints tab up here, click it, and I'm going to say Open Level Blueprint. That's going to open a new editor, and that editor should open in a floating window. I'm going to leave it floating. I think floating is the right thing to do. In here, you'll see that I've got two nodes by default. I've got Event Begin Play and Event Tick. I'm just going to take these and move them over a little bit. This one will allow me to call events every time the level starts running, and this one will set up an event tick. We're actually not going to use either of these, but they could be useful in some situations, like for things that you want to start happening as soon as the player comes onto the scene. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to start with my fire, which I've got selected here in my world outliner. If I right-click, that will allow me to create a reference to the fire, which means that I can start making scripts right away. And there's the fire. I can add anything I want to this graph that same way. All I have to do is select it and then right-click in here. We'll just add the floor because it's there, so I will right-click and there's Create Reference to Floor. This right-click menu is context sensitive. It says so right there. So anything that I make, that's the node that Unreal knows to call. Pretty cool. So now that I've got this fire in here, which I did by selecting it and right-clicking, what I want to do is turn its visibility on and off. So what I can do is I can take its little out port here. I'm going to click and drag. When I do, I get a little context menu that says Place a New Node right here at the end of my noodle. So I will click, and now I have a list of all of the possible things that I can do to this particle system. It's a lot of things, and that's why it's important to know what you want to do going in. In this case, what I want to do is turn the visibility on and off. So I will search for VIS, and right here there are the rendering options, and in the rendering options I can say this fire is visible. I can set visibility, which would specifically turn the visibility on or specifically turn the visibility off, and I can also toggle visibility. So I'll do that one because that will turn the fire on or off. That creates two new nodes. So here's my fire. Here is this target. The target links the fire to the visibility toggle. So let's just test this script out like this. I'm going to go into the fire. I'm going to turn its visible to off, and then I'll use this event begin play. What that should do is it should cause the fire to turn on as soon as the level starts. All I have to do is click and drag and connect, and in this case I'm just matching up the shapes. So this one's got an arrow, this one's got an arrow, and they go together. Now I'll compile, and we'll check it out. When I look at the level here, the fire is clearly turned off. When I press play, let's pull this up a little bit and press play, there's that fire roaring away. So as soon as the level started, the fire turned on, and now that the level has stopped, the fire turns off. So that's the way that I know that this script is working. And that's pretty cool. So right there, I've written this nice script that lets me turn the fire on and off. What I'd like to do next is I'd like to set the fire to not work with this event begin play, but to work with something context sensitive, like a box collider, so that when my player is in a certain area, the fire is on. When my player is outside of that area, the fire is off. So I will come back and do that in just a minute.